Unboxing, episode 29. I'm your host, Raider Live. Gentlemen, it's been a fun week, exhausting week for this show. We did a couple bonus shows. We'll get into all that in a little bit here. With me, as always, is Filthy Rich. Filthy Rich, how you doing?
Doing really well out here in Minnesota. We got a bunch of snow, which means Christmas is around the corner. We got 9 weeks to go, and stay tuned. At the end of the show, I have a major announcement.
Major announcement. Yeah, I did not like the snow, especially since my snowplow was in my shed, my snowblower, and I had to snowblow my yard to get to it, and then put my lawnmower away. I was actually planning on mowing my lawn that day. That didn't happen. All right. Also with us, as always, is Judge Jimmy James. Judge, how you doing?
Well, obviously, you guys just said it got real cold real fast here in Minnesota, so the Vikings decided to warm things up a little bit with a mini fire sale, trading Ngakwe to the Baltimore Ravens. Who's next on this fantastic team?
That makes no sense, too, because it's like us trading away Judge Jimmy James after getting him a few shows in. You know, you pick up a superstar and then trade him away to some other podcast, maybe with he who will not be named, former acquaintance of the show. Maybe they'll start their own show or something.
Baby, it's cold outside.
It is cold outside. All right, a lot of news to get to, and then we'll go to Brews and Reviews. Gentlemen, are you guys ready?
Let's ring that bell.
All right, let me ring that bell. All right, Brews and News. First thing we do in Brews and News, of course, is Papa Brew. And this week, I went to a new brewery in Ineffable. I don't even know how you pronounce that, but they're here in Burnsville, Minnesota. They gave me this growler here and said to mention them, and they make delicious beer. So if you're in Burnsville, Minnesota, go and check that out. They just opened up. So, gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers.
Good. Real good. All right. First thing we want to talk about, well, we're all kind of on a little hangover from that fight night. More of an emotional hangover than a alcohol hangover. But the first thing we want to do is we'll get into more of the fight later, but there's some breaking news that happened that may have affected the fight. Lomachenko had shoulder surgery after it. It was a success. I want to know, was it a major factor in the loss, or is this just an excuse? Judge, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I don't know. This could have been one of them things that they were hiding, keeping in their back pocket just in case he does lose to Lopez, just to make an excuse. I'm a big Loma fan, and to be honest, for me, I'm just not buying it.
What, do you think he had fake surgery?
I'll tell you right now, man, that picture that's floating around ain't. Don't!
Oh,
don't do it! No! Oh, explicit. Dang it.
See, you get snow on the ground, and then the F-bombs start flying.
Yeah, we gotta bring on the heat. Give him the heater, Rick. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't buy it. I don't think he had. If he had surgery, let's see a more recent picture. The picture's floating around from when he had surgery over Linares, but at least from what I've seen. But I don't believe it. I think he came out rusty. I think he had a poor game plan and didn't turn it on fast enough. But
well, he obviously didn't hurt it throwing punches because he didn't do that for the first half of the fight. So I don't know. Maybe he was taking his robe off. I've hurt my shoulders by taking off my shirt before. But Filthy Rich, what do you think about that?
I mean, this is legit. This is why he didn't throw punches, because he was hurt. You can't throw punches if your shoulder hurts. Now, a couple things. I mentioned this during the fight. Willie Pep won a round without throwing a single punch. So there was a chance he tried to recreate something that happened 100 years ago, which would be amazing. Unfortunately, he did not win a round without throwing a punch. Here's another thing I believe happened. I heard he did get clearance to get the cortisone shot before the fight. So this excuse, I don't know if we're calling this an excuse, but he did get the cortisone shot so the fight wouldn't be called off, because that is the other option. You call the fight off and you wait 2 months, 3 months, whatever it may be, but he is a fighter. None of these fighters call fights off because, they stub their toe or something. This dude is a fighter. He did lose. Again, there's no excuse. I get why Tio's not buying it, but we, the fans, are buying the fight. So we are buying it. This is the same thing with Mayweather Pacquiao. Pacquiao hurt his shoulder. He was not allowed a cortisone shot, went into that fight, re-injured it against Mayweather in the fourth round or so. And that was probably it for him. That was not, I don't want to say it wasn't a fair fight, but these guys don't call fights off because, they hurt their wrists while biking or something. I mean, these guys are fighters. I'm buying it. I don't know if we're going to touch on this later, but I'd like to see a rematch, and I think Loma wins a rematch when he's 100%.
To be fair here, I haven't seen anything where Loma specifically says that's why he lost. I don't think he's making that excuse. I mean, everything that I've said seen is he said he won the fight after going back and watching it, and then real boxing fans know that he actually won that fight. Me personally, I had it at a draw. I thought he turned up enough late. It really would have helped his cause if he won that 12th round, which I did give to Lopez. But we'll get into the scoring of it later. But some of the ridiculous numbers that I think there. And just so you guys know, Judge Jimmy James does have heat in his house. So I know it's snowing and cold outside, but it's not that cold out there. He's all bundled up down there.
It's cold. All right. Look at the sweatshirt he's wearing. You
Well,
got a jacket on. Yeah.
Filthy,
How the Grinch stole the warmth.
Just pointing that out. We do have heat. So actually, a bunch of people did lose power during that snowstorm too. If you guys saw that. But.
Not this guy.
All right. Moving on to the second piece of news. This is a fun one because it still dodges what we talk about in this show a lot in Terrence Crawford. But Errol Spence says he wants to fight Canelo Alvarez at 160. Should Canelo take this fight first off? And when should it happen if it does? And should it happen? Rich, we'll start with you.
Well, of course, Canelo should take this fight. This seems like an easy victory for him. You're talking about a guy in Spence who is elite, who is, no longer a blue chipper. He is a Hall of Fame prospect at this point. You're talking about this guy moving up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo. This should be an easy mismatch. It's easy money for Canelo. They're talking about having it in Dallas, which is Spence's backyard, and I believe it was it
Cowboy Stadium, right?
Was it Callum Smith or was it Amir Khan fought Amir Khan fought Canelo at Dallas, the Dallas Cowboy Jerry's World Stadium.
Is that the famous got hit in the testicles fight?
I don't remember, but this is, I guess the point being is this is also Canelo's backyard. So we don't need to have the corrupt judging. I think this will be not a fair fight, but I think Canelo wins this fight. When does it happen? Now, it better not happen in 2021 because we're all waiting for a Spence Crawford fight. So why a Canelo Spence fight would happen before that is absurd to me. So maybe 2022. I don't know. End of 2021. Maybe this is the Mexican Independence Day weekend fight in September. I don't know. But Canelo has to take that fight. But to be honest with you, I don't think this should even happen.
Well, I have to correct myself. The hit in the testicles fight, that was Crawford and Khan, right? That was not Canelo. But what do you think, Judge? Should it happen, and is it going to happen?
I agree with a lot of the stuff that Rich said. I mean, this is Spence has to jump up 2 weight classes, and Alvarez had you clean yourself off. Alvarez had to drop down 1. I mean, if he's back down to 160, it should be, I wasn't going to say an easy fight, but weight wise, like he's just a bigger fighter than Spence. I know Spence is a big welterweight, but I just don't. I don't think that's that great of a move for Spence. I don't know why he's got that big aspirations, unless he's just trying to make some big old money. I mean,
could it be a reaction to Crawford moving up to fight Kell Brook? You know, moving up, saying that Spence can move up and fight too, or not?
I don't think
Well, he's not moving up. He's fighting a bigger fighter, a normal bigger fighter like Kell Brook.
Oh, I mean, I don't think so.
Anything you can do, I can do better, kind of deal.
I don't know, man. Canelo's done a lot of stuff that a lot of guys just normally wouldn't do. He's moved all over the place for this.
No, I'm talking about for Spence. Spence talking to about Crawford. Anything that Crawford can do, I can do better. Crawford fighting a bigger fighter in Kell Brook. Spence saying, well, I'll go even bigger and I'll fight Canelo, who's even bigger.
I guess I just don't not following the connection for that stuff, but I don't know. I don't know where this is coming. This is out of left field for me. Kind of a crazy request, but I still agree with Rich again. I'd rather see Spence and Crawford fight, and they should fight in 2021. I don't think this should be Spence's next fight after his fight that he's got coming up. It's just not. I don't know. It just seems a little weird, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I think he should keep this as a pipe dream. Maybe do it in 2022 when they're both 32 years old, and they might need some cash in that back pocket, or they're trying to unify some belts or something.
Well, when this news came out, the first thing I thought was Spence might be more hurt than he's leading on too, and he wants to get paid before he's done. You know, that from that car accident, he may be more hurt than he's leading on. He needs that, and Canelo would definitely be the biggest payday that he's going to take. Outside, maybe Crawford would be the biggest payday. I don't know. It'd be close. But Canelo, he makes that money every time he fights.
Yeah, I think Canelo would be the bigger draw for most people if it was a pay-per-view, for sure. But it would Crawford's still a draw too, especially for the boxing fans anyway. So,
right. Any final thoughts on that, Rich?
Well, one thing I forgot to mention was Kell Brook moving up 2 weight classes to fight Golovkin. And after that fight, Golovkin said Kell Brook just doesn't carry that power. So I don't think Spence is going to carry that power up to 160. Might be a good fight. Look at Mikey Garcia moving up 2 weight classes to fight Spence. Spence said the same thing. He doesn't carry the power, probably, not get in your lane, but you don't need to move up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo. I know me and James get into this not so often as we used to, but if you're going to move up a weight class, get comfortable at that weight and fight some tomato cans and Uber drivers, or maybe they're Lyft drivers now. Fight them guys first to see how you fare and how your power is in that weight class. The other thing I do want to mention is this could be Al Heyman's way of getting Canelo to sign with the PBC. If Canelo is still upset with Golden Boy and they're still in a lawsuit, this might be Al Heyman whispering to Spence, hey, call out Canelo. Get him to sign with us. We'll put in Dallas Stadium. We won't even make this fight. We'll put Charlo up against him. Either you take your pick on the Charlo. But the PBC has a stable full of guys, and you add Canelo to the mix. You're talking like some high pay-per-view dollars at that point. So maybe we're missing something here. We're reading too much into the fine print when we need to be reading outside maybe the next page or like the next chapter.
I'd rather see a Charlo fight personally. Charlo Canelo fight, but that's just me. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's still early on. We'll keep an eye on this. As I said, it's just talk right now. They're both booked for fights coming up, so we'll see what happens. As a lot of things can happen between then and now. So, all right, let's move on to the third bit of news. And Rich, your guy Floyd Mayweather Jr. agrees with something that you've been saying since we started this show, that there are way too many belts, and they need to get back. They have to fix boxing, basically, is what they do. There's way too many belts. They got too many world champions, spaceship belts, ABC belts, BAB belts. Those are the ones that matter, and stuff like that. What do you think about Mayweather agreeing with you on this?
Well, I don't know if we necessarily agree. Maybe we do, but my point is the belts don't matter. They never did. There was the Ring Magazine title back in 1918 or 1919, 1920, whenever Ring Magazine went into publishing. And the number 1 guy fought the number 2 guy and whoever won that fight was the Ring Magazine champion. And when they vacated that weight division, then it was just an open title until the number one met the number two. But we can't trust any of these governing bodies. And we went through this about a month ago where Usyk, who's fought one guy at heavyweight, is the number one contender for one of these belts. So we can crunch these divisions and eliminate all these titles and do one big giant cluster. Never mind.
Cluster
Tournament.
dough.
We can do one big old tournament and then have crown a champion in each division. And then what? Then we're going to have somebody who does not deserve to be the number one contender get a number one contender spot. These belts don't matter. They never, not to say they never did. They probably did up until about the 70s. And then once De La Hoya, I don't know if it's all a Golden Boy, but whenever they purchased Ring Magazine, I think the credibility went out the window. I think that it should be independently owned, which it is, but no boxer should be able to own that magazine and keep its prestige. There needs to be something done. I do agree to an extent that there are just too many belts. It'd be nice to have one belt per division, but even we know what's going to happen in the future. We could do all that. It's just going to be a mess 10 or 20 years from now. But I mean, that's kind of my take so far.
Judge, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I agree. There are way too many belts. Like way too many belts. I don't know, but Lopez just won 4 in the lightweight, which
He
somehow
didn't win the email championship.
there's still some other belts out there according to what's happening. Like what? There's 4 belts. Why are there 4 belts? How are there still more belts? And that's just one division. There's like what, 12 divisions, 15 divisions? I don't even know how many division names there are now, man. But yeah, we need to, back in the day, solidify that. Get, as far as I'm concerned, man, I would even like dropping down divisions, period. Like we have too many divisions. For me, go back to the 8 divisions, a belt per division. That's what you do. You climb the ranks, you beat people. If you can beat and keep beating people, you hold the belt, and you lose, you drop back down and then work your way back up again. Not everybody gets a participation trophy. Stuff just drives me insane. Like let me see if I can find, I don't even know if I can find this, man, but there are, I don't even know where I put all these belt names, but there was one belt name. There's interim champions. There's super champions. There's franchise champions. And then I'm going to mess this word up, but champion emeritus. I don't even know what that is. Someone look it up and tell me what that is, because I don't even have the time to do that either, man. That's just,
leave it in the comments.
Leave it in the comments. But that's just ridiculous, and that's just not. And that's on top of this like regular champions in the division. It's just too many, man. There's too many.
Well,
this is one thing I agree with Floyd Mayweather on.
Well, we also know that nothing's going to change because you're going to have to lose too many promotions to do it, and you're not going to be able to get it done. It's just too much money, and it's a pipe dream. He also did, I believe he mentioned when the change of going from 15 to 12 rounds. Do you guys think that we should go back to 15 rounds for world title fights, or do you think 12 rounds protects fighters well enough?
Man, I'll take 15 for championship belts if it's one belt on 100%. You got too many belts. It's 15 rounds. Everyone's gonna pass away, and you're not gonna have any. You ain't gonna have any long-term fighters at that point. It's going to be like the UFC where people are just in and out in like 5 years as opposed to these 10, 12, 15 years you got going on. But people too soft nowadays. But
Or do you think it should change the 15 to 12 rounds depending on the weight class? Like maybe you don't want to see heavyweights going 15 rounds so they fall over each other.
no.
Guys like Wilder that would need oxygen in his corner,
What
basically.
do you mean? He's in the best shape of his life.
Sure he is. Rich, what do you think about going from 15 to 12 or 12 back to 15?
I'm not a big fan, especially we live in a world, let's just be honest, we live in a world where people just have a short attention span. To make these fights even longer, some of these fights are dreadful. It's hard for me to sit through a 10-round fight. Now you're going to add 5 rounds to that. It'd be nice if they implemented something like a like an overtime or something. If there's no knockdowns after 12, we go to a 13th and call it quits.
Sudden death.
Something like that. After the 12th round, no time. Next guy who goes down, you lose. I don't know. We can brainstorm on this, but that's just off the top of my head. I'm not a big fan going into 15. I know a few weeks back, Jimmy James mentioned something about protecting the fighters. We had all these deaths, and they happened at the 11th round or later, except for Patrick Gay. I think that was an early one. But Maxim Dadajev, it was like the 8th round. He went to like 11 before they called the fight. He's not with us anymore. Somebody in, I think it was Argentina, passed away in the ring or after the fight in like the 10th or 11th round. So adding rounds doesn't do much for me, but can we talk sudden death? I mean, I got a reaction out of you guys.
Yeah, man.
Maybe.
Thunderdome, man. 2-man
I would
enter,
like-
1 man leaves.
I would like that if we had some kind of live scoring system where like the judges were judging it live and you could see their scores live, like between rounds.
Wouldn't matter because like even champ Caleb Truex says you leave it in the hand of the judges. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Kind of paraphrasing there, but it shouldn't go to the hands of the judges. Call it a draw. Maybe get rid of judges somehow. I don't know, but as far as going from 12 to 15, does nothing for me.
Skynet's going to awaken real soon anyway, so don't even worry about it.
Wait, what?
Skynet from Terminator. The computer takes over the world.
I watch Christmas movies. I don't watch Terminator, man.
Oh,
Unless it was Terminator in December, I'm not watching it.
Then fine, watch Jingle All the Way.
Was Judgment Day in
movie.
December? I feel like I saw snow at parts of that movie.
Mute yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was April or something like that.
I don't know. Who cares? It's a bad movie. All right, boys. You guys ready to get into brews and reviews?
Yes.
Do it.
All
Do
right.
it.
All right, Brews and Reviews is a segment that we talk about last week's pay-per-view or big event. Since this last week was not on pay-per-view, it was on, quote, free TV, unquote, which you still had to have cable or whatever. You had to have access to ESPN regular. We did talk a little bit on the pre-show. If you follow us on YouTube and Facebook, then you saw our pre-show there. We also did a post-show where we just kind of touched on a little bit of the main event. Just for our podcast listeners, you can check that out on any podcastable service. But we're going to get into a little more detail right now. We're going to start with the undercard here a little bit. The 3 fights that we talked about last week, we're going to just kind of touch on them briefly before we go on to the main event because there's a lot to talk about in that main event. The first one I want to talk about, though, is Edgar Balanga versus Lance Bellows. James, you said don't blink. Don't go to the bathroom. Don't get a beer because this one's going to be over in the first round. If not sooner, we might have had somebody just walk out of the ring like we did in Minneapolis. But Berlanga wins by first round knockout. You called it. Your thoughts on that one, Judge?
Well, like I said, I called it. This is a bad man. I felt like, obviously, Linnell Bellows was, I still think he's probably like a journeyman.
Why did I say Lance?
I don't know. I think I wrote that down. It's Linnell Bellows. It doesn't matter. He's toast anyway.
We'll never talk about him again.
When he was getting the first couple of times he got hit by Berlanga, you actually saw in his face like he stopped and his eyes got bigger and was like, "Dude, WTF?" And then his whole game plan changed. Like he had no defense for that. Couldn't get away. I think this dude is going to be disgusting. There's his manager actually compares him or tells him that he thinks that he is the next Tito Trinidad. So that's a big name to throw out there if he thinks that's the case, but he still needs to be tested. But man, this kid, 6'1" super middleweight. Let's see if he keeps this streak rocking as much as he possibly can.
Well, it was obviously a sloppy performance by Berlanga, why he had to do push-ups in the corner because apparently he did not follow the game plan. I don't know exactly what the game plan was, but he apparently didn't follow it. It seems like when you knock a guy out in the first round, maybe he was supposed to knock him out in the first minute. I don't know.
Nope.
But he had to do push-ups in the corner there.
Yeah, he was supposed to do a combination. He was supposed to hit him in the
That what
body
it
and a
was.
right hook to the head, and he didn't do that at all. So he had to do push-ups.
Oh.
His trainer said do this, and he didn't do it. And he's a man of his word.
All right. Rich, did you notice anything about Berlanga in that fight? Is he someone that we really need to pay attention to for the in the future here, or is he just so untested and raw that we're not going to hear about him for a little while?
Yeah, he is very untested. We'll definitely hear from him again, but I have fallen for this many times. I'll probably continue to fall for it. But I'd like to see him in the ring with like a legitimate opponent. I'm not taking anything away from Bellows here. Apparently Bellows in his entire career has not been knocked out. So for him to get knocked out in the first round, I mean, it says something. I don't know how much it says, but we knew 14 in a row. We knew they were setting them up against a guy who could potentially make this one 15 in a row. He went with the 15 in a row. Let's see what happens, 2 months from now. I mean, he's fought 2 minutes in the last how many months? He can go next week if he wants to go on the undercard for this Gervonta Davis Leo Santa Cruz fight. Bring it on, man, because just why not make it 16, 17, 18? Keep going. I don't know. I didn't see anything. That's all I got.
Right on. Any final thoughts there, Judge, on your guy Berlanga? Is he going to get tested here soon or not?
Oh, I think he will get tested, and he's part of the takeover, as Mr. Lopez so elegantly said. So he's part of that team. So yeah, he's going to start getting tested real quick.
All right, let's move on to the second undercard one to talk about here. This was actually a pretty good fight between Vargas and Castaneda. James, I want to start with your thoughts on that one. It was an interesting fight to watch. It went the distance. Vargas winning by decision. Go ahead. What'd you see?
I mean, I saw Vargas's real nice pearly whites, brand new front teeth that he got. Made sure
Christmas came early for Vargas.
Yeah,
didn't it?
he didn't get those knocked out this time, but I didn't see anything too flashy, too spectacular. I thought Vargas was going to win. Castaneda did go the distance against Zapata, who has really good power and things like that. I didn't know how Vargas's power was going to translate to this guy, but nothing too fancy. It was a good fight. It was an entertaining fight. If you're a boxing fan, that was a fairly good one, but nothing too flashy. I don't think these guys are either of them are stars, as I would call it. I think it was just a good match to watch if you're a fan of boxing.
What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, I liked Josue Vargas. Thought he did what I thought he was going to do. It was I wouldn't call it a showcase fight. It was a step above a showcase fight, but I am looking forward to seeing him in the ring again. I don't think he is like a pay-per-view star, but I would expect him to be on another Lopez undercard. I think he's going to be he'll be on our TV sets for years to come.
Yeah, really young. All right. Let's move on because I got to get to that main event here. We want to move on to the last little one we watched was Barboza versus Saucedo. I thought that was the best fight on the undercard by far. Saucedo put up a really good fight in that fight. What'd you guys think about it? Rich? What'd you think of that fight?
Yeah, that was the show stealer right there. Alex Saucedo looked really good. I did not see Abel Sanchez in his corner, so I'm wondering if they cut ties a while back, or maybe, I don't know, protocols getting into the bubble and stuff. Maybe Abel ain't having it. He's just, hey, I'll train you in Big Bear or whatever it may be. But Saucedo put up one hell of a fight. I liked Saucedo in that fight. I did think he lost the fight. I would like to see these two go at it again. It's probably asking much for rematches and such, but I wouldn't mind seeing them two. Them two really stole the show. I hope they got paid a lot of money, and I hope they're willing to do it again.
Yeah, it was quite the decision. We had it pretty close when we were talking about it. Judge, what'd you see in that fight?
I mean, it was a good fight. I also had Saucedo beating Barboza for my prediction, but Barboza, he came out, he came to play. And that was no joke. I thought it was going to be Saucedo was going to come off of some of his one loss and give Barboza his loss, but that wasn't the case at all. So, yeah, I mean, to touch base, I mean, you guys pretty much have said everything for this one. It definitely went to decision. I thought it would go to decision. I mean, if Max, I thought Saucedo might even been able to knock him out, but that just that wasn't the case. I'd watch these guys fight again. That was for sure. That was a very good fight, very entertaining fight.
Can I say something quickly too? With Mayweather talking about 15 rounds, that one I think I would go with 15 rounds, man, because that one was entertaining from bell to bell. Give me 3 more rounds of that, I'd still be entertained. That one is the exception for these millennials with the short-term expansion. What's the word I'm looking for? I've been banged in the head one too many times. But the attention span. Get away from me, man. I'm done with you.
Well, they'd get 5 more rounds because that was only a 10-round fight.
I'm done with both of you.
And I also wanted to point out, if you
it.
watched our show last week, I was the only one that said I thought Barboza was going to win that fight. Just wanted to point that out a little bit.
Fact check.
I don't believe him.
You guys need to go back and watch our show last week and see that Raid Alive was right once in a while. I was drinking Tecate. It was on my brain. But
no, you're blaming that on the Tecate?
No, I mean, I picked it right. And James is happy because he gets to keep his nickname of the Sauce. After that.
Roll the graphic.
I'll still lose it. Don't worry. I'll lose it.
All right. Now let's move on to what everyone's talking about. I'm sure you clicked on this video to hear our thoughts of that main event, especially since we were all Lomachenko all week going into it. Interesting fight. I did not see it that way. We all kind of expected, I think, Lomachenko will start slow, start to figure him out. I didn't expect him to start that slow where he decided not to throw punches for 6 rounds, apparently. I had no idea what that was all about. Did come on hard late. I had it at a draw. A few nasty headbutts, including a nasty cut at the end on Lopez from it looked like an unintentional headbutt. But really crazy scorecards on that one. They didn't see it the way we all saw it. There were some really lopsided Lopez decisions on those cards. I know you're big on judges and stuff like that, Filthy Rich. So I'll let you start. What do you think about these judges and that fight and Lomachenko's strategy of just coming in round 6, basically?
Well, I don't think it was a strategy to come in round 6. He had a bad shoulder. There's nothing you can do about that. You can probably squeak out round 2, like Andre Ward had him winning round 2. Maybe squeak out another one somewhere 3 or 4. I don't know what the game plan was, but the game plan was definitely to save that shoulder for the second half of the fight. My prediction for this fight was a late stoppage in like the 11th. I thought Lomachenko just had to mentally drain Lopez to see if he could just hang in that aspect. And by round 11, you could just pour it on him and have the ref just jump in and say, look, Tio, you can't handle him. That's not what happened. I don't think the judges had anything to do with this fight. Best, it was 6-6. It was probably more like 7-5. 8-4 is a stretch, but Letterman, I mean, she's had good scorecards in the past. I don't know. She just had a bad night, and that's how some judges – they just have a bad night. They have a bad angle for whatever reason. But 6-6 isn't bad. 8-4 isn't bad. But anything beyond that, your license should be maybe suspended or looked at, something. I don't know how these guys get into this stuff, but as far as the judging goes, this is not Loma's fault. He just had a bad shoulder, and I believe that, and he can't say anything, otherwise he's going to get backlash for it. So
I said you can convince me on 7-5. I don't see anything worse than that. I personally had it at a draw, but I think the perception of Lopez waiting as long as he did really kind of hurt him in judges' eyes. That's the way I felt about it.
You mean Loma?
Or Lomachenko. That's what did I say? Lopez. I meant Lomachenko. That strategy of starting late, and if he had a hurt shoulder, you'd think he'd want to try to end it early instead of dragging it out and taking punishment on that shoulder. That's just one way I would kind of think of it, that you want to get out there and get it done with as fast as you could. But Judge, how did you see that fight?
Well, I mean, no, I mean, take out the whole shoulder mumbo jumbo out of the mix, right? You think he's 100% healthy because there was zero indication that there was anything wrong with Loma, right? He comes out and he does what he normally does. He waits. He assesses. He lets you throw. He lets you throw. He lets you throw. He usually does that for the first 3 rounds in every fight, no matter what. Then eventually in the 4th or 5th round is when he starts to throw punches to see how you react to his style. And then once he throws, X amount of punches in a round, then he starts to do his little side steps and his shimmies where he starts hitting you, or he starts going to different angles to see how you react at that point. Then usually in the 7th round, that's when he starts turning it on and just going, whatever he's found, he starts to exploit it. Like, that didn't happen here. He was the same through the first 3 rounds that he was in previous fights up until the beginning of the 7th round, with maybe the exception of the 2nd where he had a couple of good lands. But what I saw, to be honest, a lot of the punches that Lopez was throwing that people were ooh and on about, Lomachenko was moving away from the punch. So the punch was, he wasn't getting the full force of these punches. They were glancing off of a shoulder or off of his chest, or he was already moving back. So he was getting hit in the gut, but he was moving back. So there's not getting that force. And he wasn't like against the ropes and then stopping and getting jarred. That wasn't happening, at least that I saw. But he just started too late. If you start a fight in the 7th round, you're not going to win. I don't care if you win all those. You'd have to be flashy in the beginning and somehow just be dominant at the end. And you start a championship fight against a guy like Lopez in the 7th round. It's just not going to happen, man.
How do you guys feel? Sorry.
Yeah, I just think that was poor.
How do you guys feel about Lopez's power being too much for Loma?
It wasn't.
That would seem like
I don't think it was at all. He never
seemed to be a talking point. Hit. I'm saying that seemed like the talking point coming into it.
It absolutely was. This is why you can't destroy him. Like, Raider, you just said that he should have taken him out early. You can't trade with Lopez. Lopez is too big for Loma. Even Aram wants him to move back down. You go out there and trade with Lopez, you're getting knocked out. Your best bet was to take him late. Let him get mentally drained. His shoulder was bothering him. This is why he didn't get started till 6. Again, try to do the 100-year thing where Willie Pep can win a round without throwing a punch. I don't think he won the 2nd round. He could have won the 12th. That's why it could have been like 8. I shouldn't say he. Lopez probably won the 2nd and probably won the 12th. That is a 7-5 card. It's out of the – I don't think this is what had anything to do with the judges. And even with Lopez was not throwing hard shots. I think Lopez was actually waiting to see what Loma had to bring to the table in terms of power. Loma, his power does not transfer up in that division. He needs to move back down. I think that's where his future is. I think he wants one more crack at him. One more crack at Lopez being 100%. I can beat this guy, but I need to be at 100%. Lopez ain't trying to hear it. I think Lopez is on to bigger and better things. He should not Buster Douglas this and just get a nice win and then blow it against your next opponent. He should sit comfortably somewhere. What you got?
Dude. Look at Lopez's left eye and you tell me that out of getting hit out of 5 rounds is all he got hit, and look how close that left eye was for Lopez. You tell me Loma's power don't transfer? He doesn't have super knockout power. He's got precision power. That stuff is dangerous. I think that's more dangerous than your big old one-shot flash knockdown, man. That's why he is so effective, why he's been so effective. I don't know. Either way, I think both of those guys were scared of each other 100%. I don't think either of them were taking it lightly. They took it very serious. I thought it was still a decent enough fight. Loma didn't start soon enough. I personally saw it as either a draw or 115-113 for Lopez. I do not think that Loma won that fight. He started too late. It was a poor decision. If he was honestly hurt and that comes out later, it's confirmed, then so be it. Then that'd be a big decision. That just means if they had a rematch, Loma now knows what he needs to do. He's going to start that stuff in the 4th round, if not the 3rd round, and he's going to win that next fight. I don't think a rematch is ever going to happen. Go look at Lopez talking trash to everybody in the lightweight division, and I mean everybody. But I mean, yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah, let's not get it twisted. Lomachenko outboxed Lopez. He clearly outboxed him. When it came to those late rounds with Lomachenko, there's a reason why Lopez's face looks the way it does. He outboxed Lopez. He has the power, and other fighters should fear that power. And I think Lomachenko feared that power in the early rounds, never tested the waters on that punch, but he didn't throw anything either. His shoulder had to have been hurt. To me, this all makes sense now. I would love to see a rematch. I don't think Lopez wants any more of that. His face says he doesn't want any more of that.
I'm pretty sure that Loma caused that damage to that eye in the 2nd round, that flurry at the end of the 2nd round, because I seem to remember watching Loma in the corner getting like no work done on him at all, and Lopez had the metal plate on him early, trying to get the swelling down. I think it was starting in round 2. I think it was right after that flurry at the end of round 2. Didn't continue with the damage, but it did start to swell up pretty bad towards the end there. You're right about that.
I guess I don't know when it happened, but I think that Philly shell defense against the southpaw just didn't that he just kept exploiting his Lopez's left side, because the Philly shell exposes your left side, and that's what his defense is. And I don't think Lopez has had that somebody come at him at that spot with no fear like Loma did. But I don't know.
Well, to be clear too, when I say about the judges' scorecards, I think we all agree that we all had the judges got the scorecards right when it came to the winner. Like I don't think any of us disagree that Lopez. You could definitely say Lopez won that fight. The problem is just how massive they had it as a win, which in the end it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter if you get the decision. It doesn't matter.
It matters.
It matters. I don't want to hear this. The right guy won. This is what we said about Ugas and Ramos months ago. The right guy won. Miss me with that. Your license should be revoked. You should not ever be able to do this again. You want to go work for Dana White or something? Go to the UFC. Go do that. But this is such a even Teddy Long, that's a WWE. Teddy Atlas was tweeting how this is still the judging is a black eye on this sport. This is not good. The judging is no excuse. I don't care if the right guy won. Something needs to be done with these judges.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was getting at.
Didn't sound like it to me.
Well, I'm saying I don't disagree with
sound
the
like
result.
It's a Judge Jimmy James either.
I'm saying I didn't disagree with the result. I disagreed with the numbers, the how they had it so dominant. I'm saying in the long run, it doesn't matter, because looking back years later, you're not going to remember that the scorecards, they had it 9-3 or whatever it was. You're just going to remember that Lopez won by decision.
I will forever know that Julie Letterman had that at 119-109. What in the world was that number?
History knows this stuff. We know everything, like from Jack Johnson getting the black world title and Sam Langford never getting a title shot. History will tell this story. So the history will remember these scorecards.
Oh,
I think you guys are all just angry at me because I had Barboza right.
No, man.
I feel attacked.
Are you telling me you agree with Julie Letterman? I got a lot of respect for Letterman. Okay, Jeff,
absolutely
I got a lot of respect for Letterman, man. That is a ridiculous.
Absolutely not. I do not agree with the scorecard numbers. I said I agree with the result. I do not agree with the numbers. That's what I said.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said from the beginning. I agree with the result, not the outrageous numbers that they put on there, but I agree with the result of it. I personally had it at a draw, but as I said, I don't see any way Loma won that fight. I can argue Lopez won that fight, and I can argue a draw. I can't argue Loma won that fight. And we all wanted Loma to win that fight. We all wanted to find a way to say he won that fight, but he didn't win that fight. He, at best, was a draw, I thought. So
accept defeat gracefully.
Well, he did. He didn't even mention the word rematch or anything afterwards. He
doesn't even understand English. He doesn't even know the word rematch.
Well, maybe not.
And it doesn't matter who we wanted to win the fight. That's all irrelevant. I think we want the best guy to win, and we want two fighters who are at 100%, and that didn't happen. The best guy didn't win, and neither one fighter was not 100%. So
let's run it back. Let's run it
run
back.
it back.
Run it back. Do it again. Let's do a do-over. Let's do a redo.
Mulligan.
All right. Well, we kind of touched on it a little bit here, but I want to move on. What's next for both of these fighters? We touched on a little bit that you guys all feel that Lopez is going to be moving up. What's next for Loma after his surgery? Is he going to pine for a rematch? Is he going back down? Filthy Rich, we'll start with you because you were touched on it a little bit earlier.
He just needs – I don't know what he needs to do. For the first thing I would do is a tune-up fight. This is what Errol Spence should be doing. He shouldn't just get in the ring with a top fighter after being in a car accident like this. I think Lomachenko needs to just be in a tune-up fight to see how that shoulder feels. After that, he needs to decide if he wants to stay at 135 or move down to 130. I think this is my answer. This is going to be my answer every time: is you go where the money is. And if the money says you fight Lopez, boy, I can't wait. I think that could be a pay-per-view fight. That is where I'm going with Lomachenko. I don't know if I want to touch on Lopez until I give James his shot at what he wants to do with Loma.
Yeah, what do you think Loma goes from here, Judge? And then we'll move on to Lopez.
Man. No, I mean, if I was Loma, I'd be pressuring for a rematch. But that's what would get the draw again. To be honest, other than that rematch, I don't know, man. Loma's he's real stern on fighting for belts. And a big question is does he even deserve it? There's a lot of people that say he's disrespecting the sport because he's gotten title shots so fast than other people. But that's a whole conversation for another show, to be honest, man. I could talk like that for a while. But, yeah, I don't know. I think Loma needs to recover if he honestly is hurt. Press for a rematch, make sure he's 100%, and then come back to play. Otherwise, he might have to drop back down.
All right, well, James, what do you think is next for Lopez then?
Well, I mean, obviously he needs to get all of these email titles and the paper titles. I think I got Post-it note titles. I got USB titles. I mean, we even got the box cutter title. Who wants it? Everyone's gonna get it. Nobody. Everybody get a little cut, dude. I have no idea. I mean, Lopez got all the belts now in lightweight. Does he want to fight like Haney? Does he want to fight Haney and Garcia? He's just going to start taking big name fights. He's talking trash to everybody. Haney, Garcia, Gervonta Davis. I think he even called Santa Cruz, like, why you fighting Santa Cruz? Why are you fighting whoever Santa Cruz is? Like, I don't know if this is his dad or him. I guess I didn't follow that too much, but man, he's talking a lot of trash now that he's all of a sudden the king. So, and the trash that he's talking makes him seem like he's the one thing that he kept calling Loma was a diva. And the words that he keeps spouting makes me think that he's starting to become a diva. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but I don't know, man. Let's fight one of these guys. Fight Devin Haney or fight Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. But well, why not? I mean, other than that, otherwise move up and fight someone at 140 and have fun with that.
You did say Devin Haney, I'm coming for your email titles, what he said.
Devin Haney said he's got asterisk titles, so I don't know, man. You go watch that Twitter war if it's even on Twitter. Rich, is it on Twitter?
I'm not sure. I haven't been paying attention.
Ooh, something to follow.
Something to follow.
I'm not following them because I think they just want. I don't know who wants the attention, but they're not going to get it from me. And maybe they get it from the show. I have no idea about that. But as far as I'm going to throw it to me right now. Where does Lopez go? I think Lopez needs to keep talking trash. I don't think he's going to fight any big names. I think he's going to make his money by being this big trash talker who never steps into the ring with a viable opponent. Now, maybe I'm wrong on that. I hope I'm wrong on that. If he's watching the show, I hope he proves me wrong or proves someone else wrong. You ain't got to prove nothing to me, but let's hope he does fight the big names. But my guess would be he is just going to fight the easy fights to build his resume, build that prestige, wait for other people to be out of their prime, fight them when they're not in their prime, fight them pre-primed. I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm not expecting him to have another big fight for at least, all of 2021.
Would Devin Haney
Wow.
be considered a big fight for you?
He ain't fighting Haney.
No?
Yeah, it
But
would, but he ain't
yeah.
fighting Haney.
No? Would you take that as a big fight, Judge?
Yeah. Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, or Ryan Garcia. I think those are all big names. Yeah, I would take all those. I think he should fight all of them. I disagree with Rich's statement, by the way. I think he's not going to back down. I don't think he's going to dodge anybody, especially going toe-to-toe with Loma, where nobody really wants to get in the ring with that guy. So
He does feel like he's on top of the world right now, and I'm starting to see him appear on pound-for-pound lists as well. So,
I do too. Yeah.
yeah, I know.
he might be the next big thing. You never know. I mean, and hats off to Lopez, by the way. You fought a great fight. You won that fight, and you gotta give credit where credit is due, and Lopez did win that fight. So,
He's young, man. He's only 23, so he can get way better with his skills. So if he gets better, then man, let's watch him grow. Watch him grow. I'd love to watch him grow because I was very scared of this fight in the first place, man. But like I said, rematch.
All right, that's Brews and Reviews this week. Filthy Rich, I got one thing for you before you get to your big news. Is I wanted to congratulate you for the first week in I can't even remember as long that you didn't get muted in your intro. It just took for the Yankees to be done and the Lakers to be done. You didn't get muted once. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on that. Now, what is your big news that you're waiting everybody in suspense for?
Well, I don't know if we're closing the show right now, but
We are.
if we are closing the show, the first thing I want to say is I want to give a shout out to my friend Mally. He dropped a song about a month ago, WWDI, Why We Do It. I've known this dude for a long, long time. He's one of the best. You guys go check him out. My major announcement. Here, are you guys ready for this? Drum roll, please. Brrr,
Hold on,
here it is.
Drum roll. Hold on. I gotta get my drum roll here. Okay. James, you doing it? You're good. All right.
Oh, I'm doing the drum. Video.
And all right, go ahead. I'm holding on.
So here's the deal. About a month or so ago, there was a fight, and I said some things I shouldn't have said, but I kind of meant them. I banned Judge Jimmy James from my house, and my major announcement, I am uplifting the ban. I hereby decree that Jimmy James is now welcome back to my house. I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
Hey, all right. Wait, actually, I don't want to drink to that because that was once something special I held over, Judge, because I could go to your house.
Not anymore.
Welcome back,
Gates
Jimmy
are
James.
open.
Welcome back.
The gates are open.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that means the next fight we're going to watch with the projector on your garage then, right?
Woo!
In the snow.
Let's do it.
Maybe on Halloween. Maybe the Santa Cruz fight. We'll see what happens there. All right, Judge, where can you find us for our podcasts, especially the ones that we did last week after the fight?
You can find us on all the major podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Find us on Apple Podcasts, any smart speaker, Amazon, so your Alexa or your Google. Hey, Google, play Brews and Boxing, or any other major podcast site that you go to. We should be listed. And I want to say one thing real quick in Russian, because I'm trying to learn it. Spokoya noche, spasibo za postmatur.
Wow.
Wow.
What does that mean?
Good night. Thanks for watching.
Oh, right on. All right. For Judge Jimmy James and Filthy Rich, I'm Raider Live. Please check us out next week. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And please tell your friends about us. We're getting bigger and bigger. We got big things coming up on the horizon, especially next week, episode number 30. 30. I can't believe it. 30. And we got some special things planned for that, so make sure you tune in for that. All right. Thank you all very much. And we will see you guys next week.